It's 4:37. Dave Elswick Show, KARN. And joining us, Congressman Tim Griffin, District 2, and Congressman Eric Holder says the emails using the words Fast and Furious didn't refer to Operation Fast and Furious. Can you explain what he's saying?
I was hoping you could. Well, you just got to laugh sometimes, you know. I don't think we I know I'm supposed to be calling in with an update, but I don't think we really learned anything today. I think that there's still a lot of documents we're waiting on with regard to Fast and Furious, and as you probably know, the Government Reform Committee, which is right down the hall from the Judiciary Committee, has been pursuing them vigorously. We've had a few hearings, but they have as well, and have subpoenaed documents. So, in any event, I think we got pretty much about what we expected, to be frank with you. And there is an IG investigation ongoing, or report that's going to be issued, and it has not been issued yet. So we will, I think, hopefully we'll be getting that relatively soon, and that may be something that triggers a change in the Department of Justice behavior, but we'll just have to wait and see. There's no quick answer on this. As you may know, the contempt process is a long, slow one. Yeah. The idea of holding someone in contempt at committee, then holding someone in contempt on the floor, then referring that matter to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia for an investigation and potential prosecution is a long process. And it is, a lot of times in the political realm, we want quick solutions, and they don't always happen that way, unfortunately. So by the time if that process were to go forward, which I don't anticipate that it will fully, but if it were to go forward, it would take until long after the election, I am sure.
Yeah, but it seems to me, Congressman, that Holder has been since this really started coming up, has been stonewalling it big time.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And, we've seen this in the past. I remember back in the late 90s, I worked for the Government Reform Committee, and we had subpoenaed a bunch of documents, and even subpoenaed Janet Reno at one point. And if you remember that name, boy, that sounds like, when I say that name, I'm like, wow. I said that name
a long time ago.
A long time. And we held her in contempt, and we pushed back and forth over documents. Finally got a lot of documents, but it just it's part politics, and it's part a legal process in terms of what takes so long, and we just got to keep the pressure on. I think it is more likely that we have a new Attorney General at some point before we get all the answers. So we'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, there's no big news flash from today's hearing, except that we're still as frustrated as we were when it started.
I'm going to let you go after one last question. Explain to the listeners why because I think it's important, why it's important that we know exactly what went down in Fast and Furious.
Well, part of it is, and a big part of it, is holding people accountable for their actions. You had an agent murdered in 2010, and when that happens, you want to know why, who made the decisions, why did they make the decisions, what did they know, when did they know it. And then once you get into the investigative part of it, you want to know if people are telling the truth. It's all about, like a lot of things that we do in the oversight role of Congress. You have the passing law role, but you also have the oversight role, where we keep an eye on what the administration's doing. That's a constitutional role. A lot of that is about holding people accountable, making sure people in elected office or appointed office, me included, are accountable and tell folks what they're doing, and so we need to know. Also, the other reason you need to know is because you want to make sure it never happens again. You want to find out what went wrong and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of reasons to do vigorous oversight, both the House and Senate, to do vigorous oversight of the administration. That's our role. And this is part of it, and it's often frustrating. But you know what? The founders did that. The founders didn't give anyone all the power. They gave the House some. They gave the Senate some. They gave the Supreme Court some. They gave the executive branch some. And because it's spread out, you never have one branch able to just do anything they want no matter what. You have balance. And that's part of the balance is we watch them.
Right.
And that's what the founders intended.
I know that you're really at a crunch for time. I'll let you go, Congressman. I want to thank you for joining us and letting us know what happened today.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Talk to you later now,
Appreciate
Congressman Tim Griffin, District 2 here in Central Arkansas. We're a little late for traffic.